Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at the 10 smartest animals in the world. So, humans are the smartest species on this planet. But while they may not be able to speak or drive a car, some animals are seriously smart too, and in some ways even smarter than humans. So let's check out the most intelligent animals in the world. Before we get into it, prove you're smart by subscribing and pressing the notification bell too. Coming in at number 10 we have octopuses. Many underwater creatures aren't all that smart. Take jellyfish for example, they don't even have brains. Well, octopuses actually have the biggest brains out of any invertebrate. A human brain has 100 billion neurons, while most octopuses have around 130 million. So you may think that's a lot less than humans, but wait until I tell you where those neurons are. Most of the neurons in octopuses are not in their brains, instead they're in their arms. That's right, octopus's arms are super intelligent. Don't believe me? One octopus was even caught on camera freeing itself from a jar. That's right, it somehow managed to unscrew the jar only using its arms. The amazing thing about an octopus is, even if you cut off one of its arms, they can simply regrow. And if you're wondering what happens to the very intelligent cut-off arm, well, it lives as a thing of its own. That's right, a cut-off octopus's arm will actually live as its own thing. It will swim around and even grab food as if it was still attached. Coming up next, we have pigs. So when we think of dirty animals, we think of pigs. For example, you wouldn't want a pig walking around your house. Well, believe it or not, pigs are actually cleaner than cats and dogs. It's funny how we don't mind them hanging around our house, but pigs are forbidden. But pigs aren't only the cleanest domestic animals around, they're also the smartest. Pigs actually have amazing long-term memories, some of the best out of any animals in the world. In many scientific tests, they can also solve mazes very easily, and believe it or not, some pigs can even comprehend a simple symbolic language. Pigs are also very emotionally intelligent and love to play with each other. They not only play but also play fight, and they know when to stop when one of the pigs gets too upset. Pigs also understand mirrors. Pigs also understand mirrors and can use them to help find hidden food. And believe it or not, one day a scientist even got a pig to operate a Nintendo 64 joystick. Believe it or not, even the reason why people think pigs are dirty is because they're smart. It isn't because they like to be dirty, instead it's because they like to cool off. You see, pigs don't sweat as they don't have sweat glands, so instead they use mud to cool themselves down. Next up is pigeons. Thanks to phrases like bird brain, meaning idiot, we may think that birds are not smart. But some of the smartest animals on this list are in fact birds. For example, pigeons can actually see the world's magnetic field. This allows them to have the best sense of direction out of any animal in the world. Believe it or not, pigeons are also able to recognize individual people. They do this by analyzing their facial characteristics and remembering them. That's one of the reasons why people used to communicate using carrier pigeons. They would remember things like landmarks, buildings, and of course people. Not only that, they also make very logical and intelligent choices. And as far as birds and animals go, pigeons have a very highly evolved problem-solving skill. They're actually able to learn abstract math rules. And the only other animals said to ever understand math are monkeys. So really, pigeons are much more smart than we give them credit for. So next time you see a hungry pigeon in the park, make sure you feed it, otherwise it might remember your face and take a dump on your car. Next up is dogs. We all know the saying, dogs are a man's best friend. And dogs are also one of the most popular animals in the Western world. You may think that the smartest dogs in the world are involved in those competitions. But in reality, you won't find the smartest dogs at crafts. Instead, dogs that actually bend the rules and aren't so obedient are often smarter. Dogs with minds of their own are actually much more intelligent. However, if they can quickly learn commands and also perform them well, then this means they are very smart too. Many dogs can also identify high-tech objects, even if they don't necessarily know what they do. Of course, dogs are the most domesticated animal in the world. And nowadays, there's a lot of criticism for people making designer dogs. For example, dog breeders making pugs which find it hard to breed simply for the aesthetic. Some scientists say that after a few more decades of domestication, dogs could be even more smart than chimps. But everyday studies on humans and dogs are being carried out and we're learning more and more. Next up is crows. So we all know that pigeons are very smart birds. A crow's brain is the size of a human thumb. You may think that would make it dumb, but think about it in relation to the size of a crow. That would be like our brains being the size of an arm. Anyway, this massive brain allows them to compete with primates when it comes to intelligence. Crows can solve very complex problems. And like pigeons, they can also identify human faces, only better. Not only that, crows are very emotionally intelligent towards humans. Just by looking at a human's face, they can guess whether it's friendly or angry. Not only that, crows are known as vigilante birds, seeing as they steal all the time. You've likely seen those signs on beaches saying don't leave valuables out as they may get taken by crows. Crows don't just see the gleam of shiny objects, they actually really like taking these gifts, and they see the value in them too. For example, an 8-year-old girl in Washington began feeding the crows in her backyard. Then, in return, the crows began to bring her gifts in exchange for more food. The girl now nearly has 100 very valuable gifts that the crows have given to her. And amongst these gifts even include golden earrings and a golden bracelet. If you guys want some quick cash, then make friends with a few crows. Next up is rats. You may think that when it comes to the smartest rodent, that crown would be held by mice. This is because they do a lot of testing on mice. But did you know that rats are actually much more intelligent than any mouse could ever be? That is because rats are one of the only animals with the ability to think. Now, hear me out. Obviously, every animal can think. But rats have something called metacognition. This means that rats can make decisions based on what they do or do not know, much like humans do. Rats are also very self-aware. For example, they're ticklish and can tickle themselves, unlike humans. And they're also one of the only animals that dream. Wow, I'd love to see what a rat dreams about. Not only that, rats make for great pets. You may not think of rats as pets, but they're actually sold in most pet stores. And rats are very social animals and have strong bonds with their owners and also friends. In fact, some rats can even get depressed if they don't have any other rats with them. So if you do decide to buy pet rats, make sure you get at least 2. However, much like dogs, rats can learn things like their names. And if the rat is familiar enough with your voice and their name, they'll actually come to you when called. Next up is the monitor lizard. So when it comes to the smartest animals in the world, reptiles are scarce. But the most intelligent reptile is very smart and is called the monitor lizard. That's not because these reptiles can use computers though. Instead, it's because they can actually count. That's right, the monitor lizard is one of the only animals that counts. For example, it counts how many things it's eaten in a day. They're also very social and have personality traits. They can not only use their hands, but unlike most other lizards, they can also use their forearms. And according to zookeepers at the National Zoo in Washington DC, monitor lizards can actually remember the faces of their keepers. So if there's one thing we know about monitor lizards, it's that they have a great memory. Next up is elephants. Elephants are massive, and so are their brains. They actually have around 100 billion neurons in their brain, which is the same as a human. Elephants can also learn a lot and are very self-aware. For example, an elephant can recognize itself in a mirror. Even out in the wild, elephants are very sociable and also demonstrate helpfulness and compassion. They can communicate their sadness or happiness to other elephants. And then other elephants will respond accordingly, much like humans would. But here's another amazing thing. Elephants are the only mammal that can communicate with seismic signals. This means 2 elephants can communicate using vibrations in the ground. That's why you might see what seems like an elephant walking up and down in the same spot. But in reality, they're simply using vibrations in the ground to communicate with one another. Next up, we have dolphins. So, dolphins vary in intelligence, but the smartest type of dolphin is a bottlenose dolphin. Believe it or not, they can actually use voice to learn and have their own vocal signature. When dolphins are young, they create their very own one-of-a-kind vocal whistle. This makes them individuals, and means dolphins can tell each other apart. If they want to call another dolphin's name, they simply mimic the other dolphin's whistle. And not only that, there are various reports of dolphins helping out human swimmers from sharks. Dolphins also like to help humans catching fish. For example, dolphins will remember fishing boats. Then when they see those boats sail out and throw the nets over, they'll go undersea and catch all the fish. This way they get a free, easy meal and don't get caught in the nets. And finally we have chimpanzees. Now, chimpanzees are the closest animals to humans, meaning they are the most intelligent animals in the world. Although we may look slightly differently, we share 99% of our DNA with chimpanzees. They're our closest living relatives and much like humans can communicate in any environment. They're very sociable and while they do often move around on all fours, they can also stand upright on 2 legs if they want. Chimps in the wild and in zoos have been seen making tools using stone. This is kind of like what cavemen did back in the day. And to top it all off, even the reproductive age for chimpanzees is the same for humans. Check out the poll in the top right corner to vote for your favorite smart animal on this list. I think it's the motion lizards, as they are seriously intelligent. If you guys want more amazing videos, then check out my second channel. There'll be a link to that channel on screen in a moment. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.